Hey everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the I-5 Corridors Traffic Report. Tyson Alger here, joined by Justin Myers.
Yes.
As always, Justin, it is November 20th as we were recording this. We're 2 days out from a pretty big football game.
Yeah.
Weather's nice. We had an extended weekend, had that Friday game. Let me ask you.
Uh-huh.
We're in the throes of the college football season, and we're to the point where I've found that traditionally I get burned out. It's not the right word, but like you're just kind of ready for, we've been talking about the playoffs and the postseason, and you're just kind of ready for that finality to the season. And I am excited about Oregon's final two games here. You have USC, you have Washington, but I think everyone, we looked at that schedule and we're like, oh, it'd be nice to have a Saturday.
Yeah.
It'd be nice to have a Sunday. So let me ask you, seasoned college football fan, you went to the game Friday night.
I was there, yes.
What do you do with an open weekend after you've already seen football? Because we know like bye weeks are a whole different animal, but it's almost like a little bit of like have your cake and eat it too. So
it's interesting because in my college football heart, I adamantly hate Friday night college football games. I hate the idea of it. It's just another way for the big machine to make money. College football should be played on Saturdays, sometimes Thursday, but it should be, because like
or Tuesday, depending on what conference.
I mean, because when I like in the 90s and the 2000s, which is really where I fell in love with college football. Every game was on Saturday except for you get one fun Thursday night game. Kind of like that was college football version of Monday Night Football.
Right.
It's like you just get that little one-off and then everything else is Saturday. And as a college football, I don't want to say purist because that always has weird connotations. But like just as a true college football fan, I hate the idea of a Friday night game. That being said, when your team wins at home on Friday night and you have a whole Saturday in front of you with nothing but football and your team is in playoff contention, wins already behind them, now you can maybe kind of watch some chaos. You can kind of strategically plan. Yeah. So, yes, while I don't like it, there are some benefits to it. I don't like the principle of it, but that being said, I'm not going to turn down a free Saturday. Also, though, I will say this, and we've talked about my lovely wife on this podcast multiple times. Usually we wait until like the 45-minute mark when we know both of our wives have quit listening to this. But we are, I'll do it right now. My wife is so generous with me and our time during football season because she knows like this is my thing. So we had a little barter on like we can do like the fun brunch on Saturday, but can we find a place with a TV?
Right.
It doesn't have to be a sports bar, but can we? And magically, we found a nice brunch spot, some fun seasonal wintry cocktails. There was some Christmas knickknacks in a gift shop right next door. And two TVs with college football on. And we didn't even have to ask for college football to be put on the TVs, which is always nice.
And it had to be great for you because obviously you're doing something that's probably more fun for her on a Saturday, but you've already got to bask in the win of the Ducks. And, I was thinking about that as I approached my Saturday. It's like, okay, I had a working Friday. Saturday would be a great opportunity to spend some time with my family, to maybe like go do something different, to live a little bit, right?
Yeah.
I went to a football game on Saturday, and I brought my wife with me, and I actually brought my parents with me. I went to the Montana Portland State game.
There we go.
Over at the park. Grizz are looking pretty good.
Okay.
Portland State's not looking that great.
Tough times.
And it was really fun to go to a football game in the city. like go figure. It's a little bit more fun if you're at Portland State to play in Portland than
in the actual city of Portland,
than out in Hillsboro. So fun game there. Montana dominated, setting up you have like 30 minutes prepared on Montana State coming up, right?
Yeah, Brawl of the Wild.
Ooh.
It's objectively one of the best rival. Okay, let's.
It's where game day should have gone.
It's tough because there are certain things that you just probably know. Don't bring this up to Justin; we'll lose him,
right.
And I'll lose Tyson a little bit on this, but that's fine. Shouldn't say all. Most rivalry names are objectively silly.
Correct.
The only reason they're not silly is because we have just called them that for so long, and it is just something we are just used to. The Egg Bowl in Mississippi is silly. Yeah. It's a silly name.
Yeah.
But we've just called it that for so long that it's just like, yeah, it's the Egg Bowl. The Iron Bowl in Alabama. Like, it's a silly name. Then all of a sudden, when Oregon Washington kind of was becoming a thing, like, do we need a name for this? And every new rivalry name sounds stupid. It just does. Nobody's creating a rivalry name that is new, that is clever. Asterisk, except Brawl of the Wild, which I believe is a fairly new name, right? Isn't it fairly new for that rivalry?
I don't believe so.
Okay.
Well, okay. It's been Brawl of the Wild since I went to school.
Okay.
And I have no knowledge that it had been changed at any point, but also I don't know, maybe
okay.
it could have been like a late 2000s ad, but they do have a pretty cool trophy.
It's a cool trophy. It weighs a metric ton. You need 4 linemen from your school to lift the thing up.
I covered one of those games in Bozeman for the school paper, and it was, I think, 12 degrees. And press boxes there are kind of like a loose term. It's kind of,
there is a structure, but we don't know if it's up to code.
It's technically there are walls, but not really any heat. I wasn't prepared for the cold. Even me being the thing I ran up against being at Montana, I was like, I'm from Alaska. It's not cold down here at all. And then it gets cold.
Yeah.
And so I remember standing next to one of those 7 feet tall heaters that do the gas kind of down, and I was holding my gloves up to, or my hands up to it, and I had those gloves where you could take the fingers off, kind of woolly, and I was like watching the game, and then all of a sudden you start to, and it was like a cartoon. I lit my gloves on fire.
You lit gloves on fire, and they were gone.
Yeah, they were.
And now not only did you embarrass yourself by lighting your gloves on fire in the press box, but now you have the rest of the game with no glove.
No gloves, and if you're watching this on YouTube, you can actually see that I'm holding this microphone with my stumps.
Watch this professional transition, though. But weather-wise...
I thought you were going to go speaking of stumps.
No.
Yeah.
Speaking of weather...
Okay.
I can't remember a November game. I'm sure there is one. It was but like the Friday night at Autzen, night game in November, and it was a beautiful fall day at Autzen, and it was funny because there was a lot of Minnesota fans.
There were a lot of Minnesota fans.
Now, I don't know if it's because Minnesota, the colors, not that great. Tough color scheme. No?
Well,
too soon?
Well,
we were just talking about Montana. Tough color scheme. Let's just say.
Well, I was going to say they share some colored patterns that are they share a same kind of base color that Montana does.
But like that's old school Montana. Like,
yeah.
Okay, let's just say this: Minnesota colors, Golden Gopher colors, stand out.
Correct.
They are. You do not go unnoticed if you are wearing a Golden Gopher apparel of any kind. Mm-hmm. And so I was like, do they just stand out more because it's such a contrast to what Oregon fans wear? And then at some point I was like, no, like tip of the cap to Minnesota fans who knew, like they knew. And I talked to a bunch of them because we'll talk about this in a minute, but like other than Ohio State, and even then, with the Big Ten fans coming in, I consider myself an ambassador, Tyson. I hate it when people other than Washington fans say, "Oh, Oregon fans are the worst." I hate that. I try to be as nice and as accommodating, and hey, it's going to be a fun game. And so talking to Minnesota fans, not one of them thought they were coming in here to win this game. They all just wanted to go to the West Coast, see what Autzen was all about. They enjoyed Shout while their team was getting their ass kicked. And every one of them, because they were in their Minnesota November football gear, and they were like, is it always like this?
This is great. We should have brought shorts.
And I was like, absolutely not. Yeah. This is not typical in any way, shape, or form.
My favorite part about the whole day, there's a fair amount of Minnesotans that live here in Oregon, too. And coincidentally, like 10 of them are all on my men's league hockey team here. And so 2 of them, for like months, they've had this game circled. They're like, Tyson, we're going to come down to this game. We've never been to Autzen before. They're not huge Gopher football fans, but I've found that like Gophers are almost similar to Oregon in the sense of like there's a pretty large uplifting of just kind of like all the programs around. It's just because like they're all big Gopher hockey fans because Gopher hockey is really good. Football's not that great, but they're proud of their school, so they're going to go support. So they came down for the game, and both of them were wearing just these bright yellow Minnesota hockey jerseys. And I got a text for them like as I'm going into the stadium, like, hey, like where do Minnesota fans sit? We haven't bought our tickets yet. We want to know where their section is. So I believe it's section like 37 and 38. So I texted that to them. I go into the stadium. I do my typical get a couple cookies, assess the media meal to decide whether or not I'm going to dive in. I did this week. And then I shot them a text like, hey, like, did you get seats? Like that section's not terribly far away from the press box. I could come down and see ya. And then about 20 minutes go by, and then I get a text, section 10, row 10, which is right behind the Oregon bench and is right with basically like where all the Oregon parents sit. Yeah. And I was like, no way did they actually. And so like I look across the field from my perch at the press box, and you know, it's that massive staircase that goes down from the concourse all the way down to the field. And I just see one large yellow jersey coming down the stairs. I forget what song is playing, but he's just dancing the whole way down, all the way down, like passes Minnesota fans that were sitting up higher, deep down into the Oregon. And then like, not like an edge seat either. He has to like shimmy across.
Pardon me, excuse me.
About 3 or 4 parents, and I was like, "Oh, this could be interesting," because you know I don't know how these guys present themselves at a football game, and so occasionally I'd check here and there. And by the time Shout came around, I saw him giving like hugging parents, like they just had a good time. I met up with them at Tracktown Pizza afterwards, and they were just like, "Yeah, like that went how we expected," but like, did you see the Gophers? You know, like they were just like, it was like seeing their traveling team on the road for once. And so like, I do appreciate the Big Ten in that regard, because we do have a fair amount of those alumni out here. And so it's cool for them to be able to kind of experience this, even if any other week of the season, you look at Minnesota and you go like, that's another Monday. That's another Tuesday. Has no feel to it.
It has no feel. And I was talking to this with some friends at the game, after the game. Like, there are some cool places in college football. Like I would like to go see. The problem is not the problem. It's a nice problem to have. As an Oregon fan, there's going to be stakes in every game.
Right.
There is no consequence-free game, and I was almost envious for a minute there of Minnesota fans. And this is going to sound like an insult, but it's just the reality. Like, they came out here with no aspirations of upsetting Oregon. They're like, we're going to see the West Coast. We're going to see one of the coolest stadiums in football. See if it's as loud as everybody says it is. We'll watch the Gophers, have some beers, make some friends in Section 10.
Exactly.
Get us a free Saturday. Maybe see the ocean, because, again, as people that...
Hey, they got a lot of lakes out there.
It's true. It is funny, though, like, whether it was like Ohio State last year, or I met some like Indiana fans this year, or Minnesota fans, like that, you forget like that part of the country, they just don't get to see the ocean. And they're like, oh yeah, it's a 2-hour drive. And I'm like, yeah, it's a 2-hour. That's a terrible drive. Like, no, we're going to see the ocean.
The Autzen visiting experience thing is fascinating to me too, because it's just one of those things where if you work at a place and you go there 100+ times, you just kind of get used to it. And so like I'm trying to, like, when I look at the Big Ten schedule in places that I haven't been, like I'll circle maybe like big cities or Iowa, where they have like the Wave or the certain various things. And objectively, Autzen Stadium's beautiful. I love the scenery. I'm so blessed that I get to like call that basically like my home office every time. But I think I take for granted a little bit about like what's actually like what would be worth what about this would be worth traveling across the country to like watch your team get smashed. And I just wonder what that is. Like what does the traveling Minnesota fan like when they're going home and they get back to Minnesota and they put on their 6 more jackets? Do they go like this was like the best part of that trip? Like what do you think is the Autzen moment for a fan base like that?
I mean, I think it was Shout.
Yeah.
I think it really like,
which is so funny because like Shout is only 20 years old or so.
Yeah. If that.
Or it was
15?
basically 2010, wasn't it?
Yeah, right about that time. But they created their own new thing, and it's become now like it's a thing in college football. Because I was. It's also the thing I always like to do is when Shout comes on, like I instantly look at the visiting sections, the ones that your friends were supposed to sit in, but then they decided to go to section
I do the
10.
same thing. Like that's my vibe check.
It's like what are they gonna do over now? Indiana this year, they were feeling themselves because they are up, so might as well dance along. But like let's say you're down 10, Oregon's cranking up Shout. Like, what do you do? Like, do you do where you put your hands in the air with everybody else in the stadium? Do you sit there, hands folded? And I saw a ton of Minnesota fans, every one of them just phones out, just like, this is so cool.
Yeah.
And then they all popped up on my TikTok algorithm, like, just like every Gopher blog was like, this is so
that's cool.
Kind of like I would assume Oregon fans would be at like the Iowa Wave if it wasn't raining sideways and 34 degrees.
Sorry,
not enough to make snow.
There are somehow clouds between the stadium and the windows.
But yeah, it was an interesting scene on a Friday night at Autzen because there was a lot of Minnesota fans there, but there was still like for a Friday night game. Pretty good vibe. Yeah,
no, and I think it was the perfect game atmosphere and performance to kind of like set Oregon off into these final 2 games that they have coming up, because you and I were talking a little bit before this of just college sports are weird right now. Like there's no familiarity, there's no like nostalgia to hang on to anymore, but something just feels right about Oregon having 2 games left, it basically being win and you're in, and it being the 2 teams in college football that probably hate them the most outside of Oregon State, in USC coming up on Saturday and Washington next week.
I wanted to ask you this though, and I want to dive into the USC thing. One more thing on the Minnesota game, because we mentioned last week, you said like sometimes like when there's penalties and you're like, I'm not quite sure what that is.
Right.
I'm pretty good with the rules of football. Like I wouldn't say I am at expert level, but most of the time if I'm watching a game,
just a no ball.
I see something, I'm like, nope, that's there. My wife hates it because I will correct strangers around me. They're like, you can't do that. I'm like, yeah, you can. It's not the rule.
She being a lawyer who's just like, boy, if you could have put all this knowledge into these rules, into something. Yeah.
Except that if you have 1 foot out of bounds and recover a
objection.
If you put 1 foot out of bounds and then pick up the kickoff while the ball is still in bounds, if your 1 foot is out of bounds, that's actually an out of bounds kick, and that you get it at the 35. Like the fact that I know that, but I don't remember like math or algebra or science. But anyways, I'm pretty good with the rules of football. Where were you on knowing if the helmet was down with Sadiq and the play in
oh,
the third quarter.
I
And also, I want to know what was going on with you and everyone else in the press box, because I was 95% sure. I'm like, yeah, helmet's down. His helmet's down. But the more that review took, I'm like, is the helmet down?
Well, I mean, it was just the same thing. Like, I forget which game it was earlier in the season where there was what looked to be like a sheer targeting.
Yeah.
And it was like, no, actually, the crown of the helmet is the 3x3 patch on the like.
Not the hairline.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I didn't know if the helmet I didn't know what that was supposed to be, and so it was fun to be sitting there watching on Twitter too, and just like seeing about 8 various opinions going all different directions, and everyone very certain about what it was going to be. But man, that would have been such a sick touchdown.
It really would have been. It's funny because you had 2 plays in that game. One was the Davison touchdown where he broke free from the scrum.
Whittington,
excuse me. Sorry. The Whittington touchdown where he broke free from the scrum. And you're like, wow, what a great play.
Like little mini-
What a great... The Ducks versus them highlight reel people were probably like,
wait, why'd they cut this 2 seconds early?
And then it was like, wait, did he fall? And so twice in this game, I'm like, pretty good ball knower going, I don't know if he re-recovered that ball. And is it the same as a catch? Or because you already had possession, you just had to get 2 hands on it? Like, what's the rule there? And so ultimately, like that, what would have been an awesome play was kind of marred a little bit by what seemed to be forever review of that play. Ultimately, it led to a touchdown. But the highlight was the highlight's not going to be as good as like that perfect snippet of what you would want a highlight to be. And then the same thing with the Sadiq touch, what we thought might have been a touchdown, would have been so awesome. And then you watch like, no, his helmet's clearly down.
I asked Lanning after the Whittington one. I was like, so do you give him an attaboy after that, or is it? And he's like, no, it's we'll talk about ball security. Because Whittington was the one last year, too, in the Boise State game where he returned the touchdown 100 yards, let it go at the line, and he got saved by, I believe it was Jaden Lamar, recovered it in the end zone for the touchdown. But it was like, ooh.
Now, far be it from me to be inside a young man's head, but reading body language, and it's interesting because you brought up that play from Boise last year. Here's what it looked like. If I could create a narrative around it, he was gone where he didn't think he was ever going to. It was almost like, oh my God, I'm still running.
Right.
Then it looked like he wanted to drop it down and then said, oh no, not yet, pulled it back. And it was the recovery is what caused the fumble.
Did you see the still of like his eyes looking at the ball? Like Fox did the slow motion, and like, boy, like just a million emotions in one look.
Because to me it looked like it was like, oh no, get it back. We're not crossed yet, and it was that little kind of trying to re-secure it that popped it loose, and then got either way. So it was a couple of interesting reviews in the game that seemed to take an awfully long time.
Speaking of Sadiq, I love how he misses a game because he's been dealing with this hip injury for about a month that basically flared up when he caught that corner end zone, land on his hip, touchdown pass. I forget which game that might have been. Might have been Rutgers, maybe Indy. It was, anyways. Yeah. So they finally get him back. First big throw to him. He's wide open. Dante overthrows him just a touch. And so Kenyon's flying through the air again, makes an unbelievable catch, and then comes right back down hard on that hip, and everyone's just kind of like, oh, like. And then, but it was nice to hear him after the game. He's just like, I haven't felt that good all year, so it's like, okay, like didn't re-aggravate, because it's still. I know we've seen him play for basically 2.5 seasons now, but it's something just seeing the way that guy can move, not only like on the ground, but then just like launching his body through the air.
Yeah, gonna need him healthy if you want to make a run this year. That goes without saying. Also, credit to us and a good chunk of the college football media for essentially saying like Dante Moore, not elite, but very good. We kind of had that conversation last week. Elite throw against Iowa, but what? 2 completions in that second half. Really went away from him, weather, all that stuff. And we had that conversation about how Oregon fans have kind of, for the first time, kind of accepted that maybe he's not elite.
Was he good?
27 to 30.
I don't really remember. Was he good against Minnesota? Did he?
Comes out the next week. And it's just like, all right, MFers. How about 27 to 30? School record with 30 attempts, 90% completion percentage. Pretty elite game.
It was dry out.
Fair enough.
The funny thing, too, is he was saying, because he wore the visor for the first time because he broke his nose in that Wisconsin game. In Iowa, he didn't want to wear the visor because of the rain, so he wore kind of just more of a barred look. And so he wore the visor in this game. And I asked him, how did it feel playing with it? And he said it was basically like warping his vision a little bit. He said like guys looked closer than they really were. So, if it wasn't for the visor, he might have actually had a good game.
He might have went 30 for 30 ESPN style.
Wait.
That was Netflix, I think.
Does 30 for 30 have a jingle? Yeah, the Dun-Dun's definitely Netflix.
It has one, but I'm not.
Anyways. Let's move this thing forward.
Moving it forward. So, yes, here we go. Setting the stage now, and it's interesting because, as I mentioned earlier, I try to be Autzen ambassador. I want to be Midwest nice in the Pacific Northwest. I try to be as welcoming to opposing fans. And I had this feeling walking out of Autzen on Friday night, looking ahead to what is at stake and the familiarity with these next 2 opponents. And it's like, yep. Not today.
Yeah.
Not today. No. I feel like it is,
they know you too well at this point. Like you can't.
There is no way to make a good first impression.
There's no meet cute here.
We've done Friday night the Halloween Fright Night where we ran Pete Carroll out of town in 2009. Also had our dreams crushed 2 years later by Matt Barkley, right? There's too much familiarity here. That GD song and everything that comes with it. And yes, as we kind of alluded to at the opening of this podcast, everything about the Big 12 and the 12-team playoff and everything else, it just feels weird. Boy, this is some familiar stuff. Game day's back in town for the second time. It's only happened one other time back in 2007. USC's coming to town. They're feeling pretty good about themselves, coming on a pretty nice little streak. They can crush Oregon's season and maybe even propel themselves into the playoff discussion. Old school Pac-12, 10, 8 stuff coming to Autzen this week.
Justin, you've been in the media for a long time. You know how quickly narratives change and how much we love to spin something new forward. Let me ask you a question. Oregon and USC have kind of done this in terms of the momentum nationally the last 3 or 4 years. It was USC hires Lincoln Riley. USC's the one that's going to go to the Big Ten. Sayonara, everybody on the West Coast. And guess what? We're all coming with you. Oregon hires Dan Lanning. The Ducks have vaulted substantially ahead of USC just in terms of the quality of their overall program basically since the Big Ten. USC started to recruit better again. Mm-hmm. They're playing slightly better defense. They're still not like a great defensive team. And Lincoln Riley's offense is looking like Lincoln Riley's offense. You know that there's nothing that we like better in this industry than we tear them down, build them back up redemption story. If Lincoln Riley and USC beat Oregon this game, does the media start doing the Dan Lanning down, Lincoln Riley up, the flip-flop there?
Yeah, 100%. Because as much as I think college football media is changing, there is still some old school tendencies. And the old school tendencies are the fact that college football loves Notre Dame and USC and Texas and one of the Florida 3. Like, they love it when they're good. They just do. It's something comfortable and cozy about, USC is good or Notre Dame is good.
I know those colors.
Exactly. I know what that's supposed to look like. And meanwhile, you've got, Oregon, which I've always said, like, Oregon is tech money. USC is like oil money, right? Oregon is like, hey, we wear a black T-shirt to the office and we pay for graffiti because we're a cool boss. Meanwhile, USC is
There's
like,
beers in the fridge.
yeah, take a nap in the middle of the day. It's cool. We'll
You want a
pay for you.
kombucha? We got it on tap.
Just work Saturdays and Sundays though. Is that cool?
LeBron James is here for a lunch.
Yeah. Meanwhile, USC is like we still wear our suit.
Yeah.
We still show up 9 to 5.
We show up to like a steakhouse for lunch.
Yeah, have 2 martinis and we go back to work and get it. Like and there's just something like in terms of narratives that will be created. I do think there is a group of people that still set the tone of college football, let's just say, that really like it when teams like USC and Notre Dame and Texas are good.
Do you, and this is a hypothetical that obviously Oregon fans don't want to go down, but let's say Lanning loses this game. Lanning's been more or less a college football media darling for the last couple of years. Now, he hasn't won the biggest games possible, but the podcasters love him. A lot of the national writers love him. Like it's been generally very positive coverage and a lot of not a whole lot of criticism. If it goes negative, like do you think that he's because it seems that the rest of college football, other fan bases, other programs, seems like they're going to very much love it if Dan ever has a down era.
Yeah.
Do you think because it feels like college football media was ready to jump on Lincoln when he was going down. Like, do you think that would ever happen with Lanning? Like, is he that type of personality? Like, do you think he's rubbed people the wrong way enough that people are actually pulling for Lincoln here instead of Dan Lanning?
That's a really good question because I am skewed and emotional and
Right.
Homerish when it comes to Oregon, so I can't even understand the possibility that people wouldn't adore Dan Lanning.
It's just like everyone's perfect, and then they struggle a little bit, and it's like, oh, all of a sudden here's like 4 years ago I heard that.
Yeah, I mean, it's inevitable that it will.
Yeah.
Like at some point, right? I think Sarkisian's going through it like right now.
Yeah.
Like Sarkisian was the greatest story in college football 2 years ago, right? 2 years ago, what was the story on Sark and Texas was, battled his demons at USC, went and got
He went to the Saban degree.
got sober, and then went with Saban. Saban made him go take a health checkup, and they realized a heart defect. He had open heart surgery. He would have died, Tyson. Boy, what a life-saving journey that Steve Sarkisian has been on, and now here he is at Texas in the back in the playoff.
He's got the number one recruit coming in.
Now they're ready to kick his ass out of Texas. Yeah. That was 2 years ago.
That's kind of what I'm getting at. It's just like this era of college football. Unless you're one of like 2 or 3 coaches in the country, the pendulum swings pretty damn quick. And with Dan, it's mostly just been swinging forward, and then it does like a little, but then it keeps going.
Here's what I think is interesting with what you're talking about there, because the reason I think a guy like Sark is going through it right now is that I think Texas fans are like, is this the right guy? Because fans are crazy, right? It's the same thing. James Franklin earlier this year, like he lost the game. The narrative was clearly set that he can't win a big time game, and didn't help that they would lose to UCLA and then completely lost the team. But their fans were like, all right, media feeds this thing, fans buy into it. Boom, he's out of a job. He's got himself a nice new job now.
Yeah,
but
not bad.
I think it all kind of depends on like how it's perceived by the fans. And from Oregon's perspective, Oregon is one of the few top-tier teams in college football that also know what it's like to get dumped.
Yeah, that's a very good point.
And while maybe, and certainly hope this isn't the case, like maybe at times Dan Lanning takes his shirt off too much, or maybe at times, because again, if Oregon wins this game, that sledgehammer Washington helmet thing, don't think that's not coming up next week. Don't think that's not in the back of my mind, because it seemed so fun a year ago. But that's definitely going to come. Like, But I think there's still underlying of like, yeah, but it's our guy. You know what? You know, he's our guy, and if he's just a little bit brash, and this might be a bad comparison, but it was like Steve Spurrier talked a lot at Florida. Backed it up a lot too, but talked a lot at Florida. And their fans were like, yep, that's our guy. We love it. Wouldn't have it any other way. And the media kind of tried to, you know, tear down the old
ball
head,
coach.
head ball coach.
Head ball coach.
Until finally they're like, all right, he's never going to shut up. The fans don't care. It works. I think there's still something similar with Lanning and the Oregon fans of like, yeah, every once in a while he goes from with emotion to emotional.
Right.
And every once in a while maybe takes it a step too far. But you know what? That's our guy. And he's loyal. We're going to be loyal back. But it is going to be interesting to see what. Hopefully we don't have to discuss that. But he's definitely had like moments where it's like not quite college football's new little
Ruffles some feathers.
Yeah.
Yeah. Are you confident at all?
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
Absolutely not. I've last year, save 2010. Last year was the first time that I can remember when Oregon had a national championship caliber team where they didn't do something stupid in November. The November thing with Oregon football now, and I forget, was the Arizona game in 2014, was that October?
That was earlier in the year.
It was earlier in the year.
Yeah.
But it was still there.
Right.
My life as an Oregon fan, there is a game at home you're supposed to win with with everything on the line. That just doesn't go here. Now, maybe that's going to be Indiana, and it's already passed.
Lucy pulls the football away from Charlie Brown.
It's again, other than last year, and then ultimately you got your teeth kicked in the first quarter of the Rose Bowl, and none of it mattered. But, you know, Arizona State, 2019, just out of nowhere. How do you lose that game? Stanford, 2021.
To be fair, that quarterback that Arizona State had in 2019 ended up being decent.
And the receiver that he threw the touchdown to was pretty good too.
Yeah.
Didn't know it at the time.
Yeah.
But still, it was that game. So yes, I've done this when I did the radio show. Like, there are so many of these games in November. So I'm always scared to death. And we're going to talk about the rankings coming up here in a bit. Oregon is in a spot, while it's not, I mean, they put themselves in it by losing to Indiana, but they're in a spot where they have no wiggle room with the playoff. You are not going to lose one of the next two games and make the playoff. I don't see any scenario where that happens because, again, we talk about narratives and how strong they are. Oregon has now become the team of they haven't beat any ranked opponents. Their resume is so weak. Never mind that the teams aren't ranked because Oregon beat them at the time. That seems to escape everybody's mind. But the fact that Oregon doesn't have a win against a ranked opponent, and now here's another one.
I think that just shows that Oregon has finally arrived as a blue blood in college football. That now it's the Ducks have that cupcake schedule. They're just making it based on reputation.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think they've made it, man. Like it's finally they're at the head of the table. They can have people dissect Northwestern, which is actually not a bad football team.
Not a bad football team.
Like at all. People can dissect Iowa, which had they beaten Oregon would probably be. You know what's funny is if had Iowa beaten Oregon, I bet you like Iowa would have had a better ceiling than what they're giving Oregon right now from like a perception standing.
Yeah.
Like you would get credit for beating Oregon, but Oregon's getting no credit for like Indiana's getting plenty of credit for beating Oregon.
Yes.
But apparently Oregon's no good because Oregon hasn't played nobody. So.
Yeah, I mean, it is interesting because the evolution of Oregon football has gone from Oregon going like, well, they haven't beaten anybody. Why is nobody paying attention? And now it's Oregon fans, myself included, going, well, the only reason they're not ranked is because Oregon beat them, and Oregon didn't make the schedule. And who knew? It's the part of college football that frustrates me. It's just a lot of times you can boil stuff down to its simplest form, right? There's nuance to college football that people just blatantly ignore. Scheduling in college football is so stupid. It's so dumb. Why do we schedule games 8 years out? Why? When Oregon scheduled Oklahoma State at home, they were winning the Big 12. They were a good
Justin,
team.
The logistics and everything that goes involved in it, and actually that was all thrown out the door as we saw during the pandemic year when it's just like, hey, are you two free during this week? Like, let's do it.
It was USC and Arizona State scheduled a game on a Tuesday, and they played that Sunday, I believe, like before the NFL. Yeah. Like you could do pretty much whatever you want, but no, let's just keep scheduling teams 8 years out, and maybe they'll still be good. But Oklahoma State wasn't good, and Oregon State, which is was good 3 years ago, well, they're not good anymore, and people just act like, Oregon, and we did this to Washington in 2016, so fair enough. Mm-hmm. But it's like you didn't sit back in June going like, hey, you know what? Who's shitty?
Yeah.
Let's play them. Let's play them.
Yeah.
It's like these are scheduled years in advance.
What's fascinating about Oregon's season this year is part of the argument of going to the Big Ten was, you're just going to have better it's a better conference. You're going to have a schedule where no one's going to be able to look at what no one's going to be able to look at your body of work and question it. Had the Ducks had this same season, if the Pac-12 was still together right now, they'd be in the exact same place right now. It'd be like they haven't really played anybody, but they got Washington and USC coming up. It's
and again, if Oregon beats USC, they'll probably then not be ranked and the same stuff. And then Washington should have been ranked a good chunk of the season, and then when they finally did get ranked, they lost to a bad Wisconsin team.
It's I know the expanded playoff is only in its second year, and when it was in the 4-team thing, it was okay to not make the playoff. It was if you made the playoff, that was almost like a championship, not a championship in itself, but that was a level to get to, and then everything after that's kind of gravy. It would be fascinating to just see what the overall not fascinating, but it would be interesting to see what the overall reaction is from an Oregon fan base where last year you were the number 1 seed, you were undefeated. All of this year, I don't even know if it's expectation or just the assumption was this is a playoff team. They're going to make it. What happens if they end up going to the Holiday Bowl?
Yeah.
Or something. I'd be fascinated to just see how that kind of sits around here.
Yeah, it's not going to be good.
I don't think it's going to happen, though. I do think they're going to win both these games, but I've been wrong about a lot.
I hope you're correct about this, but okay, a couple of questions.
And by the way, folks, I'm sorry to veer this into such hypothetical if Oregon loses. I know that's why you probably don't fire up the what do we call this thing these days?
But from a college football standpoint, Tyson, is this better? Is it better? I know that the 4-team playoff had its flaws, and clearly it was exacerbated by Florida State going undefeated but losing their quarterback, and Alabama being given a lifeline, and everybody was like, well, that's complete nonsense. And so the 12-team playoff was already on the way, but that was okay. We got to do something different here. And now what you've created, again, because there's no free lunch in the universe, you think what you're doing is a good thing, but the unexpected consequences are now we're arguing who's a better team, Miami or Notre Dame?
Right.
As if there was a way to tell. Oh, wait. They played each other.
Did they?
But that's what this has created. You get these 2 lost teams that are fairly equal. One beat the other. It's not a question who's a better team. One beat the other, and if there was a 4-team playoff, that nonsense would be irrelevant.
It is-
And now here we are with these discussions.
It is kind of fascinating to think about like how we would view this season for Oregon in present day if it was the 14 playoff, because they have one loss. They're ranked number 7 right now. I don't think if they win their next 2 games that they're suddenly going to be in the top 4.
No.
They don't have a conference championship game to whatever, but you would still kind of have a little bit of that outside interest of like, well, you know, like we'll scoreboard watch, we'll see what happens. Like,
Yeah.
you'd have Lanning like after, you know, they beat USC this week, and afterwards he'd be like, you know what, I do think that we are a playoff team. You know, you start to kind of have like the politicking for it a little bit. So arguably this season is a lot more interesting for Oregon because there is the 12-team playoff, because it would probably be a 2% chance of them making the top 4, and under old things like now it's very much in control of their own destiny. So I think from Oregon's perspective, if you're an Oregon fan, like, yeah, yay, 12-team playoff. This makes every year have like some sort of kind of tension to it here at the end. But yeah, like arguing about teams 12 through 20, like I think they're all about the same, to be honest, Justin. Yeah.
And even teams 21 through 35.
Yeah, there's not nearly as much parity at the top anymore,
Yeah.
and so what do you think that's done with the middle ground?
So one of the things that's going against Oregon right now is the fact that the Big Ten schedule that they got, Iowa, Minnesota, Rutgers, Northwestern, competent football teams, but not great football teams. Good wins, a couple of them on the road, but nothing that you're going to celebrate.
Right.
And then the one time you got a top 10 opponent, you lost by 10, and we're never really in the game. I saw this idea floated around because in basketball, at the end of the season, let's say you're a bubble team, you get a chance in your conference tournament to maybe play yourself in.
Mm-hmm.
You'll get those quad 1 or quad 2 opponents come conference tournament time, if maybe they weren't on the schedule. The idea I saw floated around was, should the Big Ten and maybe the SEC create not just a playoff championship game, but then also have 3 play 4,
Right.
and 5 play 6, and 7 play 8. Neutral site, make a gajillion dollars, and therefore, if you are a team like Oregon or Iowa or US, like, you can have a chance to play what would likely be a ranked opponent. Mm-hmm. It's just an interesting thing. It's never going to happen, but it was an interesting thought of like,
What city would you put that in? Because it's Dayton for
yeah.
hoops.
Well, I was thinking more of like a conference tournament.
Yeah.
So like conference championship games going to Vegas. I think you gotta go like Indianapolis. You go back to Indianapolis. No.
You Big Ten folks in Indianapolis.
I know.
I mean, my God.
Well, because you have to play it indoors.
True.
You just, I guess the Rose Bowl's open. I hear they're looking for more games. So you can play it at the Rose Bowl. I mean, SoFi, you put one at SoFi, you put one in, Arizona, or is that Big 12 country? Can't do that. They'll probably be booked with Big 12 stuff.
I'd go to Arizona, though.
Yeah.
They could do it like World Cup style and just like have it along the whole West Coast. Make it easy and accessible. Just rub it in the Pac-12's face.
Sorry, guys, we're playing a Big Ten game here
Yeah.
again. I don't know. It was an interesting idea that, like, if this is going to continue to be a thing, which it will, because we all need stuff to talk about of, like, strength of schedule, and you have too many bleeping teams in the Big Ten and the SEC. There's just too many teams. And you're inevitably going to get a schedule like Oregon got where you just don't have the opportunities. Do you maybe manufacture one?
I think you just take the Big Ten and you have the have and the have-nots, maybe the leaders and the legends, and you could throw in a little relegation. Mm-hmm. And so you just have your premier teams and then your also-rans, and you schedule around those.
Just every year, you just have the leaders. So is the legends?
Isn't that
the Champions League?
Isn't that what the big wasn't that what the Big Ten did?
They did.
Okay.
So, well, everyone decided to create divisions, and most went north, south, east, west.
And they went leaders and legends.
And the ACC went with the Atlantic Division and the Coastal Division. And nobody knew which team was in which. And then the leaders and the legends were born in the Big Ten.
Some marketing company got paid a lot.
So much money going like, hey, here's what we're going to do. Everybody's going north, south, or east, or west. We're going to go.
All right,
Leaders
so
and legends.
We're getting to the point of the show where I usually ask you what your Spurs are grinding into.
Sure.
Anything else you want to cap on USC before we move on to there?
I think we're good.
Okay.
We're good on USC.
Okay.
God, I'm not prepared for that song, though. I mean, it is kind of a cool song. It's just, it's like,
Do you think that's why the Ducks play Pirates of the Caribbean so much? Because it kind of sounds faintly similar to that.
that maybe deep dive. Maybe that might be a like a May deep dive on
We'll do
Lookout Eugene Springfield.
No, we'll do like a serial style podcast where it's like 6 episodes where we dive deep into the origins of whatever
of
the
the
hell
Pirates of the Caribbean and the Oregon Marching Band and what band director really like. Like, I don't know if you watched like Ducks versus Them, the latest one.
I'm not familiar.
Yeah, right. But like the one thing that we all can understand, like Dan Lanning loves movies. Mm-hmm. Like he loves movies. And for Minnesota, he brought out both Dark Knight and Shawshank. He brought them both out.
I think Lanning's biggest goal is he becomes successful and famous enough that at some point he can be invited onto Simmons's rewatchables.
Yes.
And he can be like, which one are we doing?
100%. Because it's clear like the guy loves movies and movie clips to like drive home the point. Was there?
We can get him on the replayables.
I'm sure. Get all kinds of time.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Maybe in that same spirit, there was some band director that was just like obsessed. Guys, Pirates of the Caribbean is it. Like this is my Rosebud. This is my Citizen Kane. And then they just play it over and over and over again.
Do you think they're in practice? Like they're just like like it's like the director from Whiplash being. Do you ever see Whiplash? Yeah.
Pushy. Ooh,
what?
lagging.
Lagging. Yeah. All right. What's
boy, that gives me anxiety.
What's giving you a toothache this week?
Okay, a couple of things. One, I feel bad bringing this up because I think anybody who listens or watches this podcast maybe knows my heart. I love Oregon football and I love Autzen Stadium, but I bitch about the Wi-Fi. Mm-hmm. Maybe went a little too hard on the Grateful Dead thing. I don't know. We did 2 episodes of how I didn't get it. So I don't want to...
We got some feedback.
Yeah, we got some feedback. I don't want... What was with the cowboy hats? What was going on there? What was the cowboy hat thing?
Wasn't it just like a paid promotion from Allstate?
But somebody had to sign off on like, hey, we're going to give away 20,000 of something at odds. What do we think? I don't know. Maybe a T-shirt so that everybody's wearing the same shirt, or maybe like pom poms or something, so that the whole crowd has got. I got it. White cowboy hats.
And then I was behind in the halftime food line. I was behind RG3, who was doing, I believe, the color on the broadcast, and he was wearing a cowboy hat, but it was like a real cowboy hat.
He had a real one on.
And I couldn't figure out like, is this your look? Or is this like part of the promotion?
So I didn't get it.
Yeah.
I didn't get the
What were you wearing?
I was wearing a hooded sweatshirt.
Okay.
Like and a vest. Oh. That's what I went with.
Oh. Like puffy vest? Is that?
Not puffy, but enough.
Yeah.
Enough for an extra little layer.
A stately.
But like, yeah, I didn't get the cowboy hats.
Okay, that's fair.
I mean, tip of the cap to State Farm.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess.
And also, like, I don't.
Like, I'd be more than happy to wear a State Farm cowboy hat on this show if they would. Yeah, if they would like to sponsor 100%. A segment of like what by Spurs.
But also, that's kind of just like weird. Like, I don't associate State Farm with the Wild West and Cowboys.
So it was something. For me, it missed the mark. I didn't get it.
Okay.
I thought giving it could have been better.
Yeah.
But again, I usually try to say, hey, no criticism without a solution. I had no solution.
Okay. What's next?
So then here's the other one, and this one's on me. All right, so that one's on them. This next one's on me. You and I are enough of an age difference between us that I think you see some of the things that I do and you go oh boy, this is what I got coming.
Oh, 100%.
Right down the pike.
Yeah.
And I don't know how or when it happened, but at some point I just started doing things so that I had to make as little decisions as possible. Here's the point being, you can see it on YouTube right now. I own one style of sock. I wear crew length black Nike socks. They go with everything. And the reason why is, one, I don't make a choice in sock. I don't have to worry about what socks I'm going to wear. I just wear the ones. Secondly, when doing laundry, my plan was
You don't have to worry about the pairs.
they're all the same.
They're all the same. You can just you don't even have to clump them together or fold them together. You can just throw them all in the drawer.
Throw them all in the drawer. Don't even think about it because they're all the same, right? Well, one day I went and I bought a new pack of socks that I thought was the same. And for some reason, they're about 1.5 inches longer than all the other ones. And I didn't. The socks that I wear are crew length. So they go about mid-calf.
Right.
These are the full length.
You're going from borderline cool to dinners at 4.
Yes, exactly right. And I bought a 6-pack of those, and they infiltrated my sock drawer to where my whole point was I didn't want to have to match up the socks. But now the longer socks have.
Does it throw you off from a feel standpoint if you wear a tall one and a not as tall one?
Yes.
Okay, so that answers the question, because I was going to say once you have a certain height on the sock, anyways, people aren't going to be only a very special person is going to be seeing.
That's a very
be seeing that leg.
It's a very apt way to describe it.
But for you, I guess it's just a feel thing.
It's a. So
actually, it's in your head. It's just
100%
you feel
in my head.
unbalanced.
So there's that part of my brain which is fighting with the cheap part of my brain because
you just spent $12 on those socks.
You would just be well, take all the socks that are that length, and when you find one, just throw them out.
What if you cut them?
And replace them? But then you cut off the swoosh.
Oh, right. These brand guys.
I know. Today was laundry day, and I was yelling at myself for the things that the infiltration of socks. But yeah, it's a part of my life. So I was curious about you, socks and underwear. I don't even think about it.
One pair of each.
I have multiple, but they're not of I don't coordinate. It's a non-decision every day. Socks and underwear already decided from now until eternity. I just grab. It's one less decision that I have to make. And I'm curious, are you there yet?
Yeah, no,
with certain things.
Most of my socks are kind of that crew length black sock. I don't care about the brand. They just have to be the same thickness. I don't even care about length really. It's the thickness. The worst thing is if you have dress shoes on. And if you have two socks that you thought were the same, but one's a little thicker, and so one shoe's kind of slipping around a little bit, then you got to start tinkering with the tightness of the. It's just a whole production. But what I have found, though, if all your socks are the same, you get a little bit more lazy on keeping track of said socks. If all my socks are different, I know I'm missing a blue. Or oh yeah, but I'm just all my black socks are in the drawer. I somehow lose socks, Justin.
I think everybody does.
I don't know how it happens, and I feel like I lose socks quicker when I just feel like I have a drawer full of all black socks and they're the same, and I don't get possessive over them because I don't know about you, but if you're talking about boxers, for instance, I don't have a place I go buy boxers. It's oh shoot, it's been 3 years. I should probably go buy a new pair. And I buy the pair, and I don't really think much about them. But I do have, like, when you do laundry day, there's always, like, there's one pair of boxers that I have that I'm like, these are more comfy than the others. Like, I'm glad these are clean. These are my priority.
Varsity squad.
Varsity squad. Yeah, it's you know, that's my all league MVP right there. And I don't have that with my socks, and so I find that I don't care about my socks quite as much because I view them all the same. It's communism versus capitalism of the boxers.
Understood. I'm so glad we brought this up.
Yeah, me too.
I really am.
I don't know if I am, but like we're here, so.
Also, I will say I have like dress socks for like on the rare occasion wedding funeral that I have to wear a suit. Like I do have like dress socks.
Do you wear the same socks to a wedding as a funeral?
No, because I wear like black suit to funeral. I go blue or tan
Feels
suit.
like I was gonna say you're a tan suit wedding guy.
In the summer, of course.
Yeah.
Fall
I
wedding,
could
which
see you in a pastel sort of thing too.
I think I could pull it off.
Yeah,
I got the blue
could
eyes.
think
Fall wedding, which I'm not a fan of, nor do I agree with, but on the rare occasion, I'll go blue suit.
I gotta save the date for a Saturday fall wedding next year, and
Who are these people?
the person I got it
Who are these
to was
people?
like, I know you're busy this time of the year, so I thought it would help that we got it to you early.
That
And it
doesn't
was like,
change anything at all.
That's putting some pressure on both of us here.
Okay, question.
Answer.
Is this person a football fan?
No.
I was going to say clearly not.
Yeah.
Like, because you could put it 5 years in advance. They're still playing football next fall.
They're playing Rutgers that week. I love you. I wish you all the best in your marriage together, but you're no Rutgers.
It is the one, like, whoever's running this big world just has to have a sense of humor, because fall is the most beautiful time of the year. And if you were to have a wedding with a beautiful aesthetic, fall would be the time, yet no one wants to attend it.
Correct. We'll see you next week.